So, I think it's fair to say that Mario Kart World Direct wasn't exactly what we all expected of it. After 2 weeks of discourse about how this Direct was gonna blow us all out of the water and silence all the controversy by showing us how this game was easily worth the increased price, we got an overview trailer, which more or less summarized the contents of the game for anyone who hadn't been following along with the news cycle. The vast majority of the contents of this Direct had already appeared on the Treehouse and were shown in the many gameplay videos hailing from the Nintendo Switch 2 events all across the world. But not everything. It may not have felt that way, but there was still quite some new stuff included in this Direct, and I want to quickly take you across all of it. We begin with probably the biggest piece of news here, the return of Battle Mode. It hadn't been touched upon at all previously and wasn't playable in the demo, so this was our first new look at the fan favorite mode. We had however previously spotted Mario Kart 64's Big Donut on the world map, fueling speculation it might appear as a battle map, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. It doesn't appear to have been altered too greatly, although we can now use ramps to fly across the lava-filled hole of the donut, where blarks await us. We also see new battle arenas, such as one based on a subway or train station and one inspired by Moo Moo Meadows. We also hear music that hails from Chain Chomp Wheel from Mario Kart Wii, possibly suggesting it may be included in the game, although if it was on the world map we probably would have seen it by now. Quite important to mention though is that we only have 2 battle modes confirmed to be returning, being Coin Runners and Balloon Battle. The latter was a given as the classic battle mode, and Coin Runners has been present ever since its introduction in Mario Kart Wii, but there are still quite some modes for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still missing, like Shine Thief, Bob-omb Blast and Renegade Roundup. I feel like if they had been in the game, they would have said so here, so it doesn't look good for fans of those free modes specifically. In this same segment, we also get a look at other returning modes like Time Trials, which was basically a given, Team Races, as well as Classic versus Races. The latter had the newly added feature of allowing you to select parts of the map that aren't even used in Grand Prix and Knockout Tour, which was a real blink if you miss it moment, but is actually a pretty big deal in terms of variety, I think. The talk about free roam was also definitely one of the more interesting sections of the Direct, since there was, and honestly still is, quite a lot about it that we don't really know. There is a more added focus on exploring, collectibles and completing missions here, but how exactly it all works and what the rewards will be is not confirmed. Dash Food gives us new outfits, but we kinda already knew that, and while we do now know we'll also be hunting for P-switches, medallions and panels, what exactly the reward for finding them and completing their missions is not completely clear. We do see a notification pop up every single time with some sort of badge or sticker design, so that might be the reward, similar in a way to the Miiverse stamps of Mario Kart 8, just now without the Miiverse. RIP. The one that intrigues me the most is the silhouette of Wario seen when the Peach medallion is collected. Surely this silhouette isn't the badge itself, right? That would be kinda boring. So what is it hiding? Another costume? It doesn't look like it. We also see one with a Shine Sprite, which I guess could serve as a last glimmer of hope for those of us desperate for Shine Runners to return. But if you're expecting these collectibles to reward you with something big and substantial though, I would advise you to lower your expectations. The way the voiceover says, by completing these missions you can hone your driving ability, doesn't sound like there will be some grand must-have reward to them all. As far as big stuff goes, that is honestly already basically it. But there were plenty more little details and tiny bits of new information sprinkled through the 15 minutes runtime. For example, when talking about the online functionalities, we are shown that the point system that has been present in Mario Kart ever since the Wii will also make a return for World, as well as confirming that Grand Prix and Knockout Tour have their own point counter, which isn't a huge surprise, I'd say. During the character select screen, we're told both characters and vehicles have their own stats, confirming the system from Mario Kart 8 returns. This is most likely also the reason why all these costumes are separate on the character roster. They all have different stats. Whether this is then really the best way to show a character roster of over 100 characters is another question, but at least that does make it a bit more understandable why all costumes aren't just put under the same banner as their original character. We can also see during this footage that Rob the Robot, once a playable character in Mario Kart DS, will sort of appear as a bike in this game. If you were among the people hoping he'd be playable, I guess that can feel like a stab in the back, but I personally think it's cool he's at least not entirely forgotten about. The B-Dasher card from Mario Kart DS also returns, which I don't think was known yet. When we come to the section about new techniques, we are introduced to the charge jump, which can be performed by drifting on a straight path. That some sort of move like this would be included had been found out for the demo gameplay already, but we didn't know the exact details like we know now, and honestly, I think this looks like a pretty cool addition. Not sure how functional it will prove to be, but any added depth is a good thing to me. Not too long after, we're introduced to the new rewind option, which does what it says on the tin and rewinds you back while the race around you continues. As mentioned by the little disclaimer, rewind can only be used during single player races and free roam, so you don't have to fear coming across this stuff during online sessions or even local multiplayer. Speaking of which, the return of 4-player couch co-op has also been confirmed, still shown with the same limitations as before. It's quite clear that both the resolution and frame rate are quite a bit lower than the main game, which I suppose is to be expected, but it's still good to know. And of course you can now use the camera to add little faces to every player-controlled racer passing you by. Far from a major addition, but it is new information we didn't know yet. What we did know already, if you paid attention, was that Rainbow Road was returning despite not being on the world map. This direct gave us a little hint at how that might work and a cutscene that may lead to the grand reveal, with it outright being said that the way to unlock this course is by completing all cups. I'm curious how exactly Rainbow Road is gonna work though, since it will presumably be floating above the world, meaning it doesn't gel with the drive between courses mechanic, and this direct definitely phrases it as if you're not unlocking a cup that ends with Rainbow Road, you're only unlocking Rainbow Road itself. Could we perhaps see a mini Rainbow Road world that combines several Rainbow Road tracks together? It definitely wouldn't surprise me. And while that is pretty much everything new included in this direct, I do want to highlight something that specifically wasn't shown. New characters or costumes. I've watched this entire thing frame by frame and I couldn't spot a single new character or even costume. To an extent, that isn't a huge surprise. We have already seen a ton. You can easily fill a diverse direct with all of them and not have to spoil any surprises. But I have to say, I would be shocked at this point if release day comes and some of the missing characters like the Koopalings or the Kongs would suddenly just be there ready to go. For them, this did kinda feel like the last chance they had to make it into the base game. Maybe that's an early conclusion, there is still time for another trailer or even a direct, but with the overview trailer vibe this direct had going on, it does really feel like this is it. Not as far as costumes go, those are so minor, I'd be surprised if this was literally all of them, but for characters, I'm not sure how much more we should expect. Especially since basically every newcomer is based on a stage hazard, which the Koopalings and the Kongs of course won't be. So yeah, a bit of a sour note to end on, but maybe that is fitting for this somewhat underwhelming direct. How do you feel about Mario Kart World now? And did I miss anything? Share it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on all my future Mario content coming up. For now, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.